gorgeous. Welcome to day one of style school. I couldn't be more excited, and I hope that you are just as excited as I am. I want to talk to you today about why personal style is important. I know you are sitting there wondering to yourself, who cares? Why is personal style important? Should it be important to me? What difference is it gonna make? What effect is it gonna have on my life? Why is this something that anybody really needs to know? Does it have a true impact on anything, or is it just shallow? Let's get into it. Let me answer some of those questions for you. Keep watching. As I look down, I'm looking at my notes. We are going to talk about the story of what led me to discover personal style, my relationship with style now, my why is personal style important to me and why it should be important to you, the benefits of investing in your personal style and your image, and then how I want you to think about style. So here is the story of what led me to discover my own personal style. I basically realized in middle school that I had no personal style. And how did I realize this? Well, of course, because of my lovely classmates. They helped me realize it because they wouldn't shut up about it. They brought it up all the time. They loved to tease me about what I was wearing, whether it was my high water pants, which are, if you don't know, pants that come up to your ankles, like they just kind of sit up too high and they don't touch your shoes, and my Payless shoes, because we were bargain shoppers. I didn't spend a lot of money on shoes, and I felt like I looked good in whatever I wore, but like my classmates tell it, they expected me to see the same thing that they themselves would wear. $100 or $200 Jordans or a pair of Suco jeans and stuff like that. I came from a more humble background and humble family to where, that just wasn't something that we did. Like, we just weren't those people. But of course, my classmates didn't understand that. Teenage stuff. It led to a bunch of just ridicule and joning. If you don't know, joning is like DC slang for cracking jokes on people. So it was a whole lot of that going on. But that's how I pretty much learned that I didn't necessarily have a sense of style yet. It's not that I cared a whole lot what other people thought of me. I definitely came from a mom who is super strong, super independent, very hardworking, and never really cared too much about what people thought of her. She is just someone who is her own person, and I love that about her, and that is a trait that I picked up from her. So of course now, as I get older, I definitely could care less what outside opinions are for the most part. I do care as it pertains to me trying to achieve something, and it matters. But for the most part, on a daily basis, it doesn't matter. So I don't care. But as a middle schooler, as a kid, it mattered a lot more than I realized. And so it led me to ask myself a bunch of questions about what I could do about my style, how I could kind of define my own style, because around this time, my mom was still dressing me. So I wasn't even choosing my own clothes. But I, at that point, started to get more curious about picking out my own pieces and putting together my own looks. So at some point, I started to connect the dots and ask myself, can I change people's perceptions of me by changing my clothes? If I start to play around with the things that I'm wearing, could I give people a more accurate idea of the type of person that I am if I reflect what's on the inside on the outside? That was what caused me to start playing around with my style and kind of figuring out for myself, what do I like? At first it was about what would create the better perception of me, but eventually it became about, what do I like? What makes me feel most comfortable? What helps me express myself? What is the best way for me to express myself with these clothes? So let's get into my relationship with style now. Now I've decided to invest more, of course, into my looks and just put a lot more time and a lot more effort into the way that I present myself to the world, because that's what I see it as. It is a way for you to present yourself to the world. It's like your walking visual resume. Let me interject a story real quick. When I was in middle school, one day I was in class and I saw one of my classmates drawing something in her little drawing pad or whatever it was, and I saw that she was drawing clothes. And so I asked her, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Just sketching." But when I saw her sketching clothes, it dawned on me that there are actually people who design clothes for a living, and people who do other things with clothes and help people with their clothes for a living. And I had never thought about that. Like, I never imagined that as a career, let alone a career for myself. So once I saw that, that was kind of the moment. That was absolutely the moment that changed me. That was the moment that made me realize that I wanted to work in fashion. So from there, I went on to high school, and when it was time to apply to college, I knew that I wanted to apply to some colleges for fashion. And that's exactly what I did. I got into every school I applied to, and I was forced to make a decision at that point, and I did, and decided to go to college and study fashion design. Now I'm pursuing a career in fashion. Okay, wait. It's not that simple, right? It didn't just go from point A to point B. There was so much that happened in between. There was so much drama. There was so much trial and tribulation. But this video is not about that, so I'm not going to go into it. But long story short, eventually I came to the point where I am now and decided that I wanted still a career in fashion. I wanted to take advantage of these digital resources that we have and give people fashion advice and style advice to help them use their tools, use their clothes, use their image to create a better outlook for themselves. So not only changing people's perceptions of you, but also being able to get yourself access to some things that you did not have access to before. I would like for you to be able to utilize your style to open more doors. And that's why I'm sharing my fashion and style knowledge with people. That is why we are here. And I want to continue to share that with you. So let's move on to the next point. Why is personal style important to me? I've touched on it a bit. I'm going to touch on it a little deeper and tell you exactly why it's important to me and why it should be important to you. Even though the ridicule from my middle school classmates kind of ignited the flame, my fascination with creating my own identity is what kept the fire lit. So that was just the beginning of discovery for me. That was the beginning of the journey and the beginning of going deeper and deeper into what personal style can really do for you. I started watching, I remember, shows like How Do I Look, or shows like What Not to Wear. How Do I Look was how I first got introduced to Jeannie Mai and became a fan. I watched the Style Network faithfully back then, and I'm like, crush, you don't even know, like crush that they took the Style Network off the air. It was tragic. But I also used to watch How Do I Look with Stacey London and Clinton Kelly, and that was also another one of my favorite shows. At that point, I was feeling like, I know I want to do makeover shows. Like, I know I want to host a makeover show. That opportunity has not come yet, but I just thought that that would be the greatest job ever. So personal style is important to me because it lets me influence my own narrative. And there's something really, really important about taking control of the fact that people will judge you based on how you look. I know that is something that we think that people should not do. I agree with that sentiment. However, we can't stop people from doing that. They absolutely will. So why not take control of the image that they're going to judge you by and use that to your advantage? You absolutely can. It's absolutely moral. It's absolutely ethical. So why not? Don't let it be a missed opportunity. Personal style should be important to you because if your style and your appearance matches your personality, then you'll have a better chance at attracting the right relationships and the right opportunities for you. Let me say it again. The right relationships and the right opportunities for you. Why? Because people judge you based on how you look. And if you, let's say for example, say you dress like someone who's probably not that daring, not that adventurous. Let's say you wear a lot of neutrals and a lot of basics, which there's nothing wrong with, don't get me wrong. That's not even the most unfashionable thing. But let's just say that gives someone the impression that you're not very adventurous, you don't like to take a lot of risks, and you like to play it safe. But say that person is someone that's looking for a potential partner in a relationship or marriage who is very open-minded and very adventurous and loves to take risks, or loves to be bold, or loves to be outwardly expressive. They're not going to get that from your look. And when a person first sees you or first meets you, all they have to go by to determine whether or not they want to get to know you further is your look. So that automatically could turn someone away who could potentially be great for you because they looked at you and thought that you weren't great for them. And it's easy to say, oh, well, maybe they shouldn't have judged me that way. Maybe they should have gotten to know me first. Well, that's a whole nother conversation and we can go really deep with it. But if you are a woman, let's say, who is a heterosexual woman who's looking for a male partner, men are very visual. So it's easy to say, well, he should have gotten to know me, but the reality is he didn't. And how many others won't? And do you want to put yourself in that box is the question. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But if you don't, then take note of what I'm saying and put a little more effort into making your outside match your inside. Aside from things like relationships, there's also opportunities to consider. There are many times where I went on job interviews and felt like I was offered the job in part because of the way I was dressed. Why? Because I will show up with a powerful look. I will show up with a confident look. I will show up with something bold and stylish and that looks pretty different from most of the other people that are interviewing. I'm not afraid to play with color and prints, but I don't overdo it or over accessorize. And if I'm going to work somewhere like, let's say, a retail store or a front desk or somewhere where it actually matters how you look, more than likely, if you dress the part, you'll get the job. You'll at least get your foot in the door. You may or may not be great at the job, but believe me, it will get you in, because even on a job interview, they will judge you based on how you look. And like I said, that's especially if you work in a frontline position, if you are at a front desk, if you are in a retail store, if you are someone who actually interacts with the customers or the clients or the people on a regular basis, then it does tend to matter, because those customers and those clients and those people also have sentiments about you, and a lot of the sentiments they have toward you will have to do with the way that you present yourself. And some of those people do love to give feedback, so just keep that in mind. So what are some of the benefits of investing in your look? There are so many benefits. I could give you a whole list, a crazy list of benefits, but I'm not going to, because I ain't got that kind of time. I'm going to give you 5 benefits of investing in your personal style. So this is my quote. I say this all the time. I've been saying this since I was a hostess at a restaurant at the mall, which was like years and years ago. But when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play well, and when you play well, you win. Let me break down what that means. When you look good, you feel good. I think most people know what that means. You can do your research, but it is psychologically proven to some degree that when you take more pride in your appearance, when you dress in something that not only makes you comfortable but makes you feel as a woman beautiful, or as anyone, makes you feel stylish or like you are representing yourself in the best way physically, it tends to make you feel a lot better. It just has a positive effect on your mood and has a positive effect on your level of confidence and your level of self-esteem. The point, the blank, and the period. When you feel good, you play well. Well, I don't know about you, but when I take the time to invest in myself, whether it be my personal style, whether it be my personal hygiene, whether it be good habits like getting a good amount of rest at night, or doing things that I love to do that re-energize me, like reading a book or listening to music, those things tend to put me in a better space to perform at optimum level. When you're taking care of yourself, then you produce better. The work that you're gonna produce when you're not taking care of yourself is not gonna compare to the work that you can create when you are taking care of yourself, especially if you are a creative. And when you play well, you win. So that just underscores what I just said about when you feel good, you play well. When you play well, you win. So the more, the more you take care of yourself and the better job you do at taking care of yourself, keeping yourself put together, presenting yourself in the best way, the better you'll be able to perform at whatever it is that you're doing on a daily basis, be it your career, your hobbies, your relationships, or whatever, and the happier you'll be. Looking good absolutely has a positive effect on your overall performance. The second benefit is you can influence your own narrative. I've said this a few times so far in this video. I'm reiterating it as the second benefit because it is the truth. You can definitely have a better influence on the narrative because your look tells a story. It has its own narrative that it is creating about you to other people. Why not take full advantage of that opportunity and write your own story? You once felt unworthy of occupying. It gives you confidence. I might have to read this one just to make sure I get it right. Okay, because I wrote this well. It gives you the confidence you need to feel worthy of dominating spaces you once felt unworthy of occupying. Let me read that another time. It gives you the confidence you need to feel worthy of dominating spaces you once felt unworthy of occupying. Okay, that's important. To me, probably one of the most important on this list. Why? Because like I said, no matter how much we fight it, people do tend to judge you by the way you look. And if there are certain places that you're trying to get in life, and there are certain spaces that you want to be in, certain environments that you haven't been able to find your way into, the way that you present yourself could be a big component of that. It could play a major part in the narrative, the story that you're telling, and changing that narrative for the better can open some of those doors. And who doesn't want more open doors? I don't know about you, but as a Black woman, I want all the doors open that I could kick down. Do you understand me? So with that said, it'd be great to have you do an experiment with yourself, but if you are someone who deems yourself not that fashionable, if you feel like you're already doing well with it, then it is what it is. Congrats, girl, you got it going on. But if you don't, then you are gonna wanna do just a slight experiment, for a day. For a day, just put in a little bit of extra effort, whatever that means to you, because there's no standard for it, right? But be what you think is the best version of yourself that day. If that to you means putting on your favorite sweater or your most fancy blouse or a nice pair of pants that fit really well, because fit is key. It doesn't have to cost a lot, but when it fits well, it looks like it costs a lot. Okay, that's a tip. That'll come later in another video. But take the notes and do your face, or whatever you do to your face to make your face nice. For some, that's makeup. For someone like me, it's just some coconut oil. But whatever you need to do to keep you looking hydrated and happy, and go out, go somewhere, be around other people, and see whether or not it has an effect on the way people respond to you. Because I don't know about you, but for me, when I do all of that and I go somewhere, especially somewhere where people have to serve me, like a restaurant or a bar, child, totally different experience, okay? I'm gonna get all the attention that I did not get the day when I came out dusty. So try it and see. If it does work, you'll know that I was right, and if it doesn't, don't watch any more of my videos. How about that? To wrap up that point though, it will definitely help open doors. Changing up your personal style and putting more effort into your personal style will definitely give people a better impression of you, and them having a better impression of you, of how you might be, true or not, will help get you into certain spaces that you probably couldn't find yourself getting in before. So it's definitely worth trying it out. Benefit number 4 is investing in your personal style can help you fake it until you make it. Like we have to do with a lot of things in life, because sometimes you just don't get it until you get it, right? And who knows how long that's gonna take. But you can definitely, with your personal style, fake it until you make it. So what does that mean? It means that you may not yet be the person that you want to be, you know, because we're all growing every day into our best selves, and some of us just aren't there yet. And for some of us, we'll never arrive, because it's really a journey and not a destination, but you don't find that out until a certain point, like over 30. Anyways, so faking it until you making it just means putting your best foot forward with your look, your presentation of yourself, with your personal style, so that when you look in the mirror, even if you don't fully feel on the inside like you are the person you want to be yet, or for me, the woman I want to be yet, I can still see her in the mirror, which helps me visualize actually becoming that woman. And I hope that makes sense. But it just means that sometimes you have to see it to believe it, kind of like a vision board. So think of this as your vision board. Like, you can be your own vision board for the woman you want to be, and start with her style. Start dressing her as she should be, so that you can look in the mirror and already see her, which will help you get closer to becoming her. Benefit number 5 to investing in your personal style is that you can express yourself. And that's probably one of my favorite benefits, because that is what drew me to personal style since middle school, right? Like, that was the part that was most important to me, was just being able to make a statement though that I wanted to make, and being able to create a voice with my style for myself. With your style, you can say what you want to say about you without saying anything at all. Personal style gives you a voice. You can have a voice through personal style. And that is all 5 of the benefits of investing in your personal style. So now I want to share with you how I want you to start thinking about personal style, if you don't already. Think about your personal style as your elevator pitch. Let it speak for you, so you don't have to say much. If you think about an elevator pitch is basically like a 30-second something that you put together to say about yourself or your business or whatever it is that you're pitching. But you put it together to say about yourself really briefly. We have a saying in PR that goes, brevity is the essence of wit. And yes, I also have a PR company. But what that means is that you have to be able to make all the points you need to make and give all the information that you need to give in as short of a time as possible. You need to take up the least amount of time and make the most sense at the same time. And that's what the elevator pitch is all about. That's why it was created. It basically, elevator pitch means like if you are stuck in an elevator with the CEO, right? Think of a situation where you work in like tall building, New York, different businesses, or the same business, but you are on your way up and the CEO of the company is on his way up and you're in the elevator together. Now, what are you gonna say? Like, you have an opportunity, you should say something, but you only have about 30 seconds. So what could you say in 30 seconds to get that person interested in whatever it is that you're pitching? Is where the idea of the elevator pitch came from, for those who didn't know that. So I would think of your personal style the same, because even though it's not you verbally trying to pitch something, it is still something that you're being judged by. It's something that people judge you by because they pick it up in a second, right? Like, it takes a second to just look at you, analyze what you have on, and try to make snap judgments about that. Is why people do it, right? So with that, I would say that your personal style is the pitch before the pitch, right? It is the thing that people notice and see and judge before they even hear you open your mouth and give your elevator pitch. So I would treat it as such. That's my advice on that. I actually found a statistic online from Sean Leslie at payscale.com, and I pulled this statistic because I just needed something quick, and it is basically just gonna give you a quick idea of the fact that it is statistically proven by study, or maybe I should say studies show that when companies have their employees dress a certain way, or dress in a more put together way or a more professional way, that those people tend to actually earn more money, believe it or not. So PayScale's survey showed that the workers of companies that have a business formal dress code have the highest median salary at $57,800. Workers of companies that have a business casual dress code had the second highest median salary at $53,700, and workers who had a casual dress code had the third highest at $50,300. What I found even more interesting is that respondents who said that they wore specific work uniforms reported the lowest median salary by far at $38,300. So what you wear does have an effect, not only on the way people judge you, but it can also have an effect on your salary. So it's something to think about for sure. I know that that's not a very in-depth statistic. I will put a link in the description box of where you can find the full article, but it just gives you an idea of the fact that there are a lot of different things that could depend on the way that we're presenting ourselves to the rest of the world every day. So with that in mind, give your personal style a try, put some effort into it, play around with a few different things to see what works for you, what kind of pulls you out of your comfort zone, but at the same time still keeps you comfortable enough that you don't feel like you're being something other than yourself. But be the best version of you. Put your best foot forward and control your narrative. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked anything that you heard, better yet, if you learned anything that you didn't know before, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, give this video a like. Let me know in the comments below, which do you think is the best benefit of investing in your personal style out of the top 5 that I gave you. And I want you to make sure that you are subscribed so that you can get more content like this, because I'm going to keep throwing these at you to get you invested in personal style and excited about it. And I will see you in my next video.